So Jeff and myself, Sunday morning, we're up around the Forks of the Credit area. There's a great number of exposures and quarries around here where you can find Celestite, and that's what we're up for right now. I'm actually heading to one of my favorite spots, and it's more of a looking spot than an actual taking spot just because of its location. So the selenite is right at the join between the Whirlpool Sandstone there and the Cataract Group Dolostone. Point is, you won't find it there. You're going to have to look down here in this area if you want to see any examples of it. So selenite is it's in an isomorphous series with barite. In other words, the form stays the same, but the actual mineral changes. Barium and strontium being the two elements. This very fine-grained, evenly flat deposited sandstone is an example of fine grains flowing really fast in a fluvial environment, like a river environment. As a result, it deposits in these layers. So this is greatly prized because of the way it can cleave. You can just see the layers running along there. So that's an example of a fast-flowing river deposits in the Whirlpool Sandstone. So it was right at the time between when this area was a shallow reef sea and when it was basically a delta deposit. So you can see this here. Oh, can't break it. All sorts of depositional environments. This is like sinuous dunes. That's very typical of a coarser grained deposit. So much of the sandstone above me, it's found in local buildings like as in Toronto, Queen's Park, and of course there are the mines that go deep into this sandstone that are all in this area. They always tap into this exact layer. I know they've stopped mining it in the early 1920s, I believe it was, but they've done recent repairs with, I think they call it Sackville brownstone. That's on the buildings in Toronto. So, and here we go again, this sort of combination between hummocky and rippled surface, again representing the type of depositional environment. Looks very fine grained. This is actually not an area where I go to actually collect the minerals because we're in a park here, but it's definitely an area to go just to enjoy the scenery and to check out the different types of rock. Actually a beautiful transparency in this stuff. They use it for fireworks actually. This is the main ore for strontium used in fireworks. Lovely red chrysanthemums, and this is what gives it the color, the strontium. I mean, you'll notice this is not the sandstone, this is the dolostone above it from the Cataract Group. Manitoulin, I believe it is, and you can see the vugs. The vugs have been filled with the selenite. So it looks like fossils are also something to be found down in this area. Here's an example there, but I would really like to find just some tabular examples of the selenite, or celestite, excuse me, I keep mixing up the words. So it's a strontium sulfate, different from selenite, which is gypsum crystallized. Orthorhombic crystal system, hence the tabular shape. In other words, 3 axes, all at 90 degrees, each of a different length. That's the orthorhombic crystal system. So there's a lot of connection between New Age stuff and celestite, which they say has the power of increasing communication and calmness. And there's a book written, I think it's Celestine Prophecies, kind of all based on calmness, being really zen about things. Some would say it increases your ability to communicate with the angels. Now it's of course just with the blue celestine. So just a matter of opinion, of course. I'm into the mineralogical aspect of the crystals. Me and the trout fishermen here. Look at this. Old abandoned power station up top got washed away in the flood. In the early, it's called the 100-year flood. Trashed this, trashed the village of Cataract, or excuse me, Brimstone down the way. Look at this. What a spot. That's mainly where we're looking for the celestite. There we go. Lovely spine right there. Look at that. See the orthorhombic shape on this prism. Obviously the C-axis being the longest. And there's an axis going that way across and an axis going that way, all at 90 degrees. Looks like the edge is a bladed edge there. So you always know the dolostone by the fact that it is pocked like this. Limestone far less so. As they say, limestone has a tight interlocking crystal structure. Dolostone is more porous. It's kind of like a sponge in a way. So this area, as I say, it's more for looking, for enjoying the geology, just kind of learning from it. It is in a park area, so you can't really physically take the specimens away, but you can always enjoy just seeing them, right? But keeping in mind, there's plenty of abandoned quarries on either sides of the valley, up near the area known as Devil's Pulpit. There's a couple of interesting spots up there, so you can look up there, and then that's outside the park, and you can possibly take specimens home, but not here. Lunchtime. Tomatoes from my garden, absolutely delicious. Nothing better, man. Just looking at this piece here, you can see the zone nature, how it grew kind of just like scabbing over the previous crystal and just growing outwards like a, you know, like a sugar cube or something. So I mean, that itself speaks of the hydrothermal nature of its, you know, the way it was formed. And sometimes apparently when the crystals are very clear, you're going to actually see phantom crystals. So here's a real new age look at the Celestine. They said it's meant to help you communicate with the angels. So, I mean, if that's your belief, fine. But to me, it's simply strontium sulfate. It's the most interesting piece of Celestine I've seen so far today. Like a crystal that's bladed into another crystal. Very nice.